Hey guys, welcome to the show. I am the notorious B.I.V.
And this is Pauly G.
Okay. Awesome.
Sorry, I stole your line. You always say that.
That's, yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. Yeah, here we are for another fun-packed, for another exciting, fun-packed, fun-filled adventure.
Action-packed? No, we're just going to sit here and talk, but
yeah, that
fun-filled. There you go.
Yeah. And I really want a movie poster for this area right here. It bugs me every time I watch our videos. Because it's just white.
Just one little spot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's that. Anyway, what's on your mind today, Pauly G?
So, I don't know if this is something you want to talk about. If not, we could talk about something else. But a big thing that has happened at my school recently is we've had a very, very strict cell phone policy. Have I told you about this?
No.
So, it's interesting how the pendulum has kind of swung from, oh, kids are being distracted by their phones, we should put them all away, to, you know what? This is a part of life. Everybody has a phone. You can use phones to look up information. You can use phones as an educational tool. Let's just teach kids how to use phones to, to find out information and to be, to learn from, right? Now there's all these studies that have come out that show that kids who have phones in class are so distracted that it's really had a huge negative impact. So Governor Cox, our governor of Utah, has asked schools to please have
You said Cox.
That is true. His name is C-O-X. Anyway, he's asked schools to really come down hard on not letting kids have phones in classrooms.
Okay.
So I don't know if you paid attention to this, but like across the country, all of these schools have like I saw a video where these kids come into the school at the beginning of the day. They have like this container. They stick their phone in it, and it is magnetically shut or something. So they have their phone, but they can't actually use it because it's in this container, and they have to wait till the end of the day to get it out of this container so they can have their phone back.
Interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, our school has now, I think this has been like 3 weeks now that we've had this very strict policy, which is if your phone is out, if a teacher sees any electronic device of a student, so it could be earbuds, a phone, a smartwatch, if they're on that, from the time the bell rings to start class, from the time the bell rings to end class, even if it's like the very end of class, the kid gets out their phone at the very end of class, you fill out a form, the kid goes down to the office and drops it off in the office. Yeah. And if it happens once, then you get it back at the end of the period. The second time it happens, you get it at the end of the day. The third time it happens, you get it back. A parent has to come back and get it. So that's all your classes. So like if it happens one time in one class, that's your first strike for the rest of the school year. So it's very strict.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess, so the idea is that kids are not learning if they have their cell phone, if they have their devices.
There's all this research that shows, even just people in general, if you have a phone sitting there while you're supposed to be doing something, you're distracted by the fact that your phone might go off, that you might receive a text message.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yep.
I don't, I guess it depends though. Like I'm not a very social person. I don't like to get phone calls. I really don't. Like and I rarely get phone calls. Like people don't call me. I'll get texts from time to time. But I'm definitely not anticipating texts. Like I'm not waiting for someone to text.
Right. Whereas these kids are all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure not everybody is, but generally speaking, though.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I wonder about, like you and I didn't grow up with cell phones.
Right.
Or even the internet.
Right.
So we've kind of adapted to that stuff over time.
Whereas these kids grew up with it.
But these kids grew up with it,
Yeah.
and so it's like, and so I mean, so if you took my cell phone away, it would be an inconvenience. But I've lived without a cell phone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not like, it's not the same deal. I think.
Right. I think some of the students in my school had anxiety about what, like, what if someone's trying to get a hold of me and I can't respond, or FOMO, like, oh, everybody's texting about something and I don't know what's going on. Well, you know what? If everybody's phones are put away, nobody's going to be, who's going to be texting you? Nobody, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the parents are the ones that are texting their kids.
Yeah.
So many times I've had kids say like, "Hey, my mom's texting me. Can I look at my phone?" And I'm just like, "Dude, tell your mom to stop texting you. Like, wait till between classes,
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, is it that important? Anyway,
I don't know. But then you have to ask yourself, how much do kids actually learn in junior high and high school anyway? Right? I mean, honestly, like I can't remember. I mean, obviously I learned, some level of math and writing, I guess, or I wouldn't know them. But, right? But I don't, I don't remember anything specific where I was like, oh, I learned this thing that I didn't know.
Right. Well, hopefully
in some class or something.
Now that you're in your 50s, you've learned so much since then that you don't remember stuff you learned way back then.
Could be.
If that was like where your learning stopped, then you'd be like, oh, I remember the last thing I learned was in my chemistry class or something. But
yeah, but I think we learn what we learn about things we're interested in.
That's true too. Yeah.
And like, well, I mean, you learn something as it relates to something else,
Right.
So like, if it's just this concept out here, like, you're really not gonna.
It's hard to remember.
Yeah. Or like in my job, someone will be like, oh, hey, there's this new application we're going to train everybody on. And so we have like a training, and they're like, see, it does this and this and this. And you're like,
who cares?
Okay, that's cool. And then, but unless I'm like actually using it,
you forget.
I don't know what I don't know what that means.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, people tell me all the time, oh, I took Spanish when I was in junior high or high school, but now I don't remember anything. Well, it's like, well, yeah, if you don't ever use what you learned 20 years ago, of course you're not going to remember it anymore, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. Taking cell phones away during class hours, I guess.
What's crazy is, so for a long time, it was like, okay, you shouldn't have phones in class. I mean, most of your teachers don't want you to have your phones on in your class. But, well, what if you're done with everything, right? Like, what if everyone's taking a test?
Right.
And then when you're done with the test, you could even have homework to work on. But what if you're done with your test and you're done with your homework? Well, then does it matter if you're playing the game on your phone? So that's what the kids have been doing in my class for years. It's like, if you're all done with everything, I don't care if you play on your phone. But this new policy is like, nope, you can't have, if you get that phone out, then I send you down to the office. And our principal was very strict. He went to every English class and talked to the kids about it and had multiple meetings with all the teachers to make sure we all understood this is going to be a very strict policy and we have to all be on board, because if we're not all on board, it's not going to work. And it's interesting because Bountiful Junior High decided to do a similar thing, but they were kind of loosey-goosey with it, and now it doesn't really mean anything. Like, and in our school now, the kids just aren't on their phones. Like, I just don't ever see a kid on their phone in my class, and now kids are like, when they're done, they're like reading a book, or they're talking to each other.
Okay.
And I see, like, I just think it's pretty awesome. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, I think I personally spend too much time on my phone, wasting time looking at, playing a game or looking at social media or whatever. Like, when I don't have anything to do, it's just my go-to thing. And it's just, I think it's just kind of a time suck.
Yeah.
So
mine is,
I think that's a good thing.
To some degree. But it's mostly after hours or whatever.
Right. Like
when I'm just chilling out.
Right.
And I'm bored or whatever, I'll just look at stuff on my phone.
Right. And I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that sometimes. But
yeah.
Anyway, I think it's been a really positive thing.
Okay.
I saw a news story today that a school in Texas, in a high school in Texas, the kids walked out to protest the school trying to make a new phone policy. They're like, we refuse. I was like, dang.
Interesting.
I was like, I'm glad that our school didn't do that. Our kids are just like, okay, well, whether we like it or not, this is the way it is, you know?
Well, that's part of that too. Like, if they grew up with it, they think
they have a right.
Yeah, that it's
my phone.
That they're entitled to it, or like it's part of their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, it is, and it is part of their life, right?
And with me, I'm like, if you finish your test early, why can't you just sit there?
Right.
That's what I did when I was a kid, right? You know what I mean? But they don't have that same perspective.
Right.
So
it's cool though. I just see kids doing other things now that maybe are, like they're drawing pictures or or whatever. They're just talking to each other.
So they're doing the stuff we used to do.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Now, at my school, every kid has a laptop. And so if the teacher gives you permission, you could get on your laptop and you could play a game on your laptop, but not on your phone.
Wow.
So,
okay.
I don't know. It's interesting.
It is interesting.
The thing is, the laptops are given to the kids by the school. And so the laptops are blocked from social media and stuff like that. Our counselors say 80% of the problems that they have are due to smartphones. Like because of bullying or social media, those kinds of things. Like if kids didn't have smartphones, they said they wouldn't have 80% of the problems that the kids are coming into them complaining about. Not complaining, but they're like, hey, this is what happened. So-and-so did this, so-and-so did that, or whatever,
Right.
So I guess they're like, oh, it's okay if you play a game on your laptop, but then you don't have social media on there.
Yeah. Weird.
You can't text people on your laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
I don't know.
That's a big thing in my world lately.
Interesting.
What did you want to talk about? Or have we already spent too much time talking about this one?
No, we can keep going.
Okay.
For a bit on this, I guess.
Okay.
But I don't know. I guess my thing is like, I think that's fine. Like temporarily taking devices, like during class or whatever, right?
Yeah, and then they can still have it between classes. They can still have it during lunch. So it's not like they don't have it all day long. Some schools are like super strict. Like you don't have it all day long,
Yeah.
So
if my employer took all of our phones while we were at work, like I don't think I'd have a big problem with that.
And there are jobs that say, hey, we don't want you playing on your phone while you're on the clock, right? I guess it depends on what kind of job you have. Yeah. But like my son has had jobs where they're like, hey, even if there's no customers coming at the moment, you shouldn't just be sitting there playing on your phone. You should be looking professional, waiting for someone to come up to your, the counter or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're in customer service and stuff like that, you don't want the customer service people sitting around on their phones or whatever.
Yeah, that doesn't look professional, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I go to Smith's and I'm like, hey, you're not even paying attention to what's going on on your phone.
But a lot of businesses have like apps and work apps and stuff on people's phones too.
That's the thing. I have to use a phone for certain things.
Yeah. So.
But I've tried to do a better job of not being on my phone. Like if it's at the end of class and I'm done teaching and the kids are all working on something, I've tried not to just be on my phone because I figure, well, and our principal told us, like, you need to set a good example. Even though the phone policy is not for us, it's pretty hypocritical for us to be playing on our phones, but the kids can't,
I see. Do as I do, not as I say.
Right.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Anyway. Cell phones. Am I right?
It's hard though, because sometimes it's like the easiest thing to do in a situation is to use your phone. Like, hey, this big thing's coming up. We're going on this field trip. Oh, can I text my mom and let her know? Sure. Can I put a reminder in my phone? Sure.
Mm.
I can't see the board very well. Can I take a picture of it with my phone? Sure. Or like, here's the weird schedule for today for the assembly schedule. Can I take a picture of my phone? Sure. There's all these things that you can use your phones for. But now we've said like, okay, we got to figure out other ways to do this, because if you have excuses for when you can use your phone, then it kind of defeats the whole thing. Like, to be a very, very strict no phone policy.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, use your laptop. You know.
Yeah. I don't do much of anything on my phone.
Do you use your calendar?
No.
Oh man, I use my calendar a lot on my phone.
I mean, yeah, I really don't. I just, and this is the thing. I've always tried to like keep everything really simple. I don't like to have a lot of appointments and things like that. So I try not to have anything that I don't have to have on my phone. I mean, and I don't, and I don't really take pictures or anything when I'm walking around, like doing stuff. I just don't. I don't know. I'm weird like that.
But maybe you get more out of life than the person who's staring at their phone all day long.
Maybe.
And maybe you have less stress. Because there's definitely studies that show people who are doing a lot of stuff on their phones are a lot more stressed out. Because they just have all these things that they're focusing on and paying attention to that you're not worrying about, right? So
I suppose.
You can be chill.
I still have my worries. But, yeah, I don't know. Cool. Well, there we go, everybody. What do you think? Should we take the kids' cell phones from them while they're in class? I don't know. Let me know. Let us know in the comments. Leave a like. Leave a comment. Share this with your friends and family. And we'll see you in the next video.
All right. Take care.
Bye.